Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner for my Slow Stitch Saturday. So, you guys know I recently came back from Scotland, the Shetland Islands, the Faroe Islands, and Norway. And I wanted to show you some of the things that I purchased on my trip. So, let's start out with this. Now, this was a shop where, let me just bring these out and put this over to the side. This was a shop where the lady was actually hand dyeing wool. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. But she had these packs of Harris tweed, and they were kind of in a corner. And I thought, these are absolutely perfect for slow stitching. Because with slow stitching, you only need a little bit. They were 10 pounds each, so maybe $12, $13. But let's take a look and see what we have. So this looks like just some strips. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, lots of really nice strips. This will be fantastic for couching down on things. I love that. And then we have some strips here. A lot of really nice colors. Ooh, look at that. Purples, just lots of strips. I want to show you a brooch that I bought there. Ooh, isn't that pretty? And then this was the other one. A little bit of mustard colors in there. Just some scraps. What a smart lady to sell this stuff. Look, that looks like it was going to be part of a quilt or something. But yeah, lots and lots of Harris tweed there. Let me show you the brooch that I bought at that little shop. And to me, it needs a little work. So I will show you the wool also that she hand spins. But this is a brooch, and I think it needs one more element. I think these are too big. So I might take some wool thread and go over them. I think they're a little bit too bright for me. There's 4 big balls there. There should really only be 3. She's got a little bit of some stones in there, but I think it needs a little work. I just, impulsively grabbed it. And then after I brought it home, I thought, I think that needs a little work. So let me show you what she was dyeing, and I will insert the pictures of her farm. Now, hand spun wool. Let me get these papers out of the way, but look at that. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to untie this, but I don't want to right away because I want to, how does this go? Oh yeah, like that. Look at, that's a lot. Yeah, look at that. Oh gosh. Beautiful brown color. She was also knitting there, and she showed us this sweater she was working on. So that's pretty. And then I bought this bundle again with dark colors, all hand spun. It says black chevron. And then this, which was more of a neutral color. And then this was also from that store. naturally dyed. She says hand spun, and it was kind of a greenish color. But let me put this away, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to put in the pictures her shop now.
Bobbins full, then you put it underneath, lift out another fillet, then you put an empty one on the top, and then you put the two bobbins wools together, or the plies together, and that's what gives you your yarn. That's it. So you guys call it yarn. Yarn to us is a tall story. So wool is wool, basically. This is a lovely, lovely. Does anybody knit or crochet or yeah? Have you tried spinning? You should. But do you work?
Yes.
Okay. You'll not have time for work.
Yeah.
You'll only.
You need to stop that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I did retire, but I still work.
Oh, okay. Well, I've just figured it out. I've still got nearly 2 years to go before I get my pension. And I just think, oh, for God's sakes, it's terrible, isn't it? You know, you've got to work all these years. I think they've just put it up to 70, haven't they, in Sweden? Sweden,
I think that's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah.
So here she is showing us the sweater that she knitted. Isn't it absolutely beautiful? And then here are some of her sheep. And she said they had just taken the wool off of them, so they were shorter haired than normal. And then there's a picture of her shop. And then she took us and let us feed the Highland coos or cows. But she said you got to be careful of those horns because they can get you. But that was really fun to do that. They're beautiful animals. And then take a look at the background too. Just how beautiful it is there. She was a delightful woman. It was a really fun part of the trip.
So I've just ordered a new pair today. So thankfully I just had to go down the ramp down there, and then they all saw me and came straight over. He's the original size and colour of Highland Beast. The reds that everybody loves to see were manufactured. And that's because Queen Victoria really liked the reds. So therefore everybody thought that Highland Beast was red. And then they're black. Well, we think that in order to get the reds that they had to bring in a ling, because that's the only one, certainly in Scotland, that has the really deep red genetic. So we suspect that that's what they brought in and then bred on from there. So this is why you're getting this myriad of colours. If Annie manages to catch, she carries the black genetic, so she has a dark nose, tongue and feet. She possibly might produce a black, which would be perfect. Sheena, on the other hand, she carries the light genetic, light nose, tongue and feet, and we suspect she might give us a red. And actually the bull has a little bit of red in his black, so there might be reds coming, which is not really what we want, but whatever we get, we'll have to be thankful for. And I'm noticing Sheena's wanting to eat a lot, and she's galloping over for her food, so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful the little lads manage to do the necessary instead of playing for fun. He chases her, yeah, she just looks a little bit chunky, doesn't she? And she's looking for more food, but he'll do want more food. I'll come up a bit later actually, and I'll give her a little bit more. So yeah, well, she's way down in the pecking order, I'm afraid. She's the boss. He thinks he's the boss, and she is the boss. So I'm just looking. I think he might have lost me. Oh no, she's definitely lost me. But I love them. I absolutely love them. Right, we're going to walk down through here, and Andy.
Now she gave each of us a piece of the wool, and she said that if you just keep spinning it like this, that's what makes the yarn. Spinning it like that. And that's tough. And there's a lot of lanolin in it. Lanolin in it. It feels very not greasy, but with a lot of moisture. Now, I went into one shop. This was in Shetland, in the Shetland Islands, and they had a lot of wool threads and stuff, but this was what I found interesting. They did a lot of felting too, but isn't that beautiful? Beautiful purplish color. And then I got a brown one. This is actually cashmere, and it feels so yummy. That's going to be pretty on a slow stitch piece. I love that deep, dark, mossy green. And then they had a bunch of kind of sparkly, I don't know, fibers, small little packs. But again, I thought those would be fun to use in some slow stitch projects. Let me just put this down. And then let me show you the fabric that I bought. I only bought 4 different fabrics. Now look at this. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this fabric yet. It could make a journal cover, but it's those cows, those Highland cows. Isn't that fun? And this fabric shop I went into, they were selling it. They do it by meter, but they let me do an eighth of a meter. So that's fun. And then I bought 3 different wools. And look at that. How pretty is that? Yes. So brown with a tiny little bit of green in there, it looks like. These would be good for in journals to put as far as some flips, fabric flips. This is pretty, the green. Got a little bit of pink through there, some browns there. And then I mostly bought threads and wools, not a lot of fabric. And then this one here. Yeah. And then let me show you some of the wools I bought. Some is from a company, Jameson, from the Shetland Islands. And then the loose ends was another in Lerwick. But yeah, so lots of different colors. Some are variegated. This is kind of a variegated one here. Oops. So those. And then these here. So 100% wool in Scotland. A pink, kind of a purple color. That's cashmere there. 18 pounds. So that has like $25 or so for that. That was 8 pounds. I didn't realize that. You know, sometimes I just don't even look at the price. I just think, I like that. I love this mustard color. I didn't realize that was cashmere. Is this cashmere too? No, that's wool. And then a couple again of the wools. Now let me show you this stuff. I bought so much of this at this store. Let me bring the camera up. And the reason I loved this is I thought for thread painting, but look at how thin that is. It's a silk mohair. The Norwegian Yarn Factory. It's silk and wool, a mixture. But I just thought for thread painting, how nice and thin that is. And I went kind of crazy at this shop. I bought a lot of neutrals because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with some of these colors for my picture of Miss Fiona. Aren't these beautiful? So yeah, I went crazy here at this store. But let me set it aside and I'll bring in my picture of Fiona and we'll get stitching. So here is what I've done with Fiona. I'm going to bring you back down. Oops. Okay, so I've done all of this thread painting of her. Now remember, this one's going to go on my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, Volume 7. I'm not going to do Volume 8 just because I want to finish this and it makes me nervous to have projects that are not finished. So I thought this mohair, if I stitch some of this in there, it's because again, it is so fine that, and those little fibers, it's going to make her hair look more like hair. So I need to find a color that I want to start with. That's it right there. That's it. So let's thread up a needle and see what this looks like. Now, finding the end, that's going to be the challenge. Once I found the end, it wasn't difficult at all. And I just used just this small little needle threader to thread a needle. So let's just kind of see how this looks and how it stitches. I hope it stitches like I want it to. I think it is. Oops. I caught the back there. We'll let the rest of the way through, yeah. So my plan is to couch or needle turn this down. I'm going to cut all the way around her. If you look close, I have edged it here and then I'm going to cut it close because this here, like you see that right there, that doesn't look very nice there, and I don't want that in the picture. So maybe I have to do kind of bigger stitches for it to show. It is showing if you look real close. it does show up. So I'm getting back into the swing of things. I've been desperately working on a video of the trip. And boy, that takes a long time because, remember it was the second part of my trip was an Outlander tour, visiting all the places that the TV series Outlander filmed at. And so then I'm also doing research and, where the real place was and trying to find film clips of that area to go with the pictures that I've taken so that you can see that, yes, that's where it was filmed and here's my picture of it. So, yeah, it's taken a really long time. And of course, with jet lag, that took a fair amount of time, fair amount of sleeping time. We read this. And then on Monday, so this is Friday when I'm filming this. Monday, I had a little surgery. I think I had told you guys about the little skin cancer I had on my ear. Well, the biopsy had come back positive for a basal cell carcinoma, not the melanoma, but it had to be removed. And so I had that done on Monday. And what they did is, and I hope this doesn't gross anybody out, but they take like a little piece of the ear. It was right on the curve of the ear. And they take a sliver. Of course, they do a local anesthetic. And then well, dang it. I need a longer piece. I hate that this is coming undone. But anyway, they take a little piece of the ear and then they, put it underneath a microscope and they keep slicing little pieces off until when they look underneath the microscope, they don't see any cancer cells at all. And so they had to do that 3 times. And then, because it was kind of a pretty good size hole in my ear, he says, well, what do you want? Here's your options for fixing that. And he said, most men just have me sew it up and they don't fuss over it. But he goes, most women want a skin graft. And he said, if I just sew it up, it's going to look, it's not going to look natural. So I said, okay, do a skin graft. So they took a little piece from the back of my neck and yeah, so now that is fixed. I'm going to have the stitches out on next Monday from the skin graft. And yeah, I can see a little bit here and there of the of this. I think this is going to work out great. It's just going to take a lot, to really see that stand up. So, yeah, I'm just back to, normal. Oh, and this is the other thing. So you guys know, if you people are travelers, I'm a traveler, definitely a traveler. And This trip was a long trip though. I was gone for 3 weeks. That was, I think 2 weeks is a good amount of time to be gone. So I was definitely ready to come home. But I got home, and one of the gals that I had met on the cruise, we kind of had clicked. And she's a traveler, loves to travel. She's married, but her husband doesn't really like to travel. So she had told me she was going to Paris in October and wanted to know if I wanted to join her. Well, what do you think, guys? So the hotel is booked, plane tickets are booked. I'm going to Paris, and it's going to be a short trip. It's only 10 days, but we're just staying in Paris. We're not going outside of Paris. And oh, she's a foodie too. She's not overweight, but she likes good food too. So we're just going to shop and eat. So I'm going to continue doing this stitching. Yeah, if you look real close, you do see a little bit more where it looks like a little bit more of natural dog hair. So I'm going to continue, and then I'll be back and show you where I'm at. I finish thread painting my sweet little Miss Fiona, and right in there, let me see if I can get the camera to focus. So right in there, do you see how it's a little fuzzy there and there, right in there? So it did, I think, add a little bit. And so I think she's done. I'm good with her. And like I said, I'm going to cut it out. I may just do some more stitching up close, and then I'm going to cut around it, and then I will needle turn it when I go to put it on the still life project. The next thing I thought we would do is I talked to you about this brooch that I bought in Scotland, and I don't know, it's just it was an impulse buy. The lady who was selling her yarn, and it was there, and I grabbed it, and like I said, it is a brooch, but it's just, I don't know, I won't wear it because it's ugly. So let's try to fix it. Now, I think one of the things that's bugging me is these big old stones here. And I've tried to pull them apart, but I think they've glued them down with like E6000. So I'm going to come in here with a scalpel and see if I can get these off without cutting myself. They're too big and bulky and ugly. You see how that scalpel almost slipped? That's not good. Okay, kind of feel something here. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, sorry, this has got to go. Maybe the one would be okay in there, but both of them, it looks goofy. I bring that scalpel in there like this and try to. Maybe if I take some scissors here, because I'm going to be covering this up a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, pretty stone, I guess, but it doesn't look all that great. This one's got to come off too. I don't like it. Okay. Yeah, I think that's better. And I am going to, let's see, if I bring that like that, that covers that little piece. Do you see how that's the glue there? If I bring that like that, and if I stitch that down, that will cover that spot. And here is some, let me bring you up a little bit. Tap you and make sure you're in focus. Here is some of the yarn that I bought. And I like the colors. I think the colors are good. They're the blues and the purples. So this, if I brought this like this, and if I did a few French knots, let's just tie some of this off. And then that will hide that. Yeah, okay, perfect. I'm just going to tack it down first. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to see that you can see the, gosh, I need to tap it again. You can see in there the threads. And so I need, she's got some stones in there. I could bring in some different stones. It keeps going out of focus. Why does it keep going out of focus? I think this needle might be too big. Yeah, it's too big. But I could put a couple of the purplish stones in there to hide that. Let's see if I can find a thread that will go through this. That goes through, but I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to thread this yarn through it. I might be able to. I pull it good and thick, or taut. Come on. Oops. Oops. Come on. Kind of I didn't get it all. Let's see here. It's definitely too small of a needle, but let's just try. Okay, now I'm going to come up through here, and I'm going to add, let's see if one of these beads, here's a blue bead, see if it'll go through there. Oh yeah, it does. Just to camouflage that down in there a little bit. Oops, sorry if you can't see. go through twice. Ouch. That stung. Oh shoot, now the yarn is ripping. Well, that's not working. May not be able to do two. It's just going to be two. The hole's not big enough. Let's try to thread this again. Actually, let's see if I just... So today's Saturday. I will get this video up later on today. I think I did tell you guys I'm feverishly working on some editing of videos of my trip. I had decided not to make a scrapbook of my trip, but instead to do a vlog of it and have it on my YouTube channel. And then that way, anybody that wanted to watch it could. Okay, well, that kind of hid that in there. So let's see. Wonder if we bunch these up and make it a smaller brooch. I love that. I wish I had more of this stuff because I do love the way that kind of curved in there. And then I think I did show you, I brought in some things that I thought maybe I could put in there. See, there's that. And then I bought these. Let me show you these. I bought this set of beads at the sewing basket when I was with Rachel. And they've got some of the colors. And then the other thing is I had this other brooch, and that's not going to fit in there. Maybe if I put that in there, if I tie that in. No, I think I want to go smaller. Yeah, if I bring these in, then it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I like it in. Yeah, I'm gonna bring this forward and make these pull in together. Just gonna do that like that. Let's see. Come up one more. Yeah, we're going to end up making the brooch smaller than what it was. We'll go down like that. And then now we're going to come up here on this one and bring it in closer. See, already I think that looks better. Oops. Oh, damn. This tears. Shoot. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to have to try to tie a knot around this. And then secure it down. The thing of it is, you can't pull too tight, I guess. Oh, shoot. I maybe should sew it with. Okay, what I'm going to do is, because that broke, I'm going to undo this. And I'm going to get some stronger thread. So let me take this out and get stronger thread, because this is not going to hold. I'm afraid it's going to not be correct. Okay, I found some DMC 797 and I've threaded a needle. The other thing is, do you remember me showing you the tweed, the scraps of tweed? And I thought this matched really well. Here's a small little piece of the same. So let's just cut this. And then let's just see, tucked in there, because remember that's where that jewel was. But see if we kind of put that in there like that. And then let's come up. And if we have these kind of sticking in between, I'm going to bring these together. And we have that tweed kind of peeking out. It may make those three balls soften up a little bit. I don't like the way they look. They look just too like three little balls. So let's just bring that like that. And then let's also at the same time see what happens if we add a bead. This one I think is too, oops, let's grab another one. Let's see what happens if we stick a bead here. Great. I don't know, you guys. I'm gonna say no to the bead right now. Maybe later on, but let's take that bead out of there. And let's just sew this down. I want to bring it together. See, okay. And let's bring that like that. And then now I'm going to come up over here behind this ball. Come up. And let's see. Grab a little bit. We're going to bring those two together and make it a little bit tighter. Okay, I'm liking that. I don't like that I can see this thread right here. So let me make this tight. I'm going to tie this in a knot. So what you're going to do is you're going to go under, and I have it really tight. I'm going to bring it through here and make it tight so that that's together. Okay. And I'm going to do that a couple of times. Okay. Once again, through. And then one more time. Okay. I like that tweed in there. Yeah, that kind of looks cool. Maybe I don't need these beads. Maybe we want a subdued look. I still have that one piece, or that one, let's see if I bring it over. I'm going to cut another piece of this tweed. Oh, here we go. This is the same. Let's see what happens when I stick this down in there. Do another little piece so it's scrunch it up. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm liking that. Okay. That is cool. That is cool looking. Alrighty. So we need to bring this up. I scrunch that up. You know what? Let's see here. Let's scrunch that up. And we're going to come up through the center here. Okay. And then we're going to come up through the center here. And that down in there. I think if I just kind of keep scrunching it up, there we go. Oh yes, look at that, you guys. Isn't that looking better without those big old white stones? We're going to come over here. I'm going to bring this in. I want to catch it so it's there we go. Oh yeah, see, and you can't see those stitches. And I've hidden that one big stitch too. Let's just bring this here. We want to make sure that this is tacked down nicely. I don't want it falling out at some point. Bring this around like that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Much better. Much better, you guys, huh? Okay. Now I've got these white beads over here. I'm wondering if I had to take those off. I don't know if I like them. I don't like them. They look goofy. Yeah, I'm cutting their beads off. Come in with scissors. I have my blue bead there. I think it looks a little bit better. I don't want this to kind of scream in your face. The blue ones that they have there are good, but did they double tack them down? They may fall off. No, I think they did double tack them down. I could put now some beads around because they've got a couple around there. I don't know. Do I want this purple? I kind of do like it. Let's just see. We can always take it off if we don't like it. So I'm just going to come up there. Hope you guys can see. And I think this one's missing the whole. Oh no, there it is. Let's see what this looks like. It does bring a little bit of that purple in there. That's really nice and hidden way back in there. And it's tiny. Let's run another stitch through it so we don't. And I apologize if this is going in and out of focus. Okay, so now let's go back through here. And down. It's just ever so slightly back in there. I think we could do one back here. It just brings a tiny little bit of the purple in there. See, it's slight. Oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, you can't see it much. Let's see, do I want to bring in more of the blue? I love that tweed in there. I think, ouch, I think that added, oh, see that? I don't like this. So this thread right here, so I need to come up here. Okay. And then push the ball over and hide that. Make it tighter. Yeah, okay. I think that's good enough. I don't want to overkill. I want it to be a little bit, let's see, I maybe need one more bead, because there's one bead that's just, ouch, my gosh, I'm having a heck of a time here. Bring that over. There is one bead sticking up, and it looks like it's out of place. It's this bead over here. There is one there. There's one buried deep in there. I might go here with the blue one. Let's see. Do I have any smaller ones? I think they're all the same size. Yeah, they are all the same size. Yeah. Yep, I think that helped right there. Yeah, now you can see a couple of beads everywhere. Okay, what I'm going to do now is tie this off, and then I'm done. I think this was a huge improvement in this brooch. And now I'll wear it. I'm sure I was going to pick it up with these big old things on there, and I was going to look at it and think, no, I'm not putting that on anything. I bought this beautiful 100% wool shawl in Scotland, and it drapes over the front, and I have now 3 brooches to go with it, and this is one of them. And because sometimes on Sundays when I'm at church, they have the air conditioning down so cold that even though it's like 110 outside here in Phoenix, I'm freezing in the chapel. Okay. Okay. Now what do you guys think? Did I make it better? I think I did. I think I did. I'm going to take some pictures, and we'll do a comparison side by side. You guys tell me what you think. Thank you so much for joining me for this Slow Stitch Saturday. I had planned on working on the blanket that goes under Fiona, but this brooch was just sitting over to the side, and I thought I've got to take care of it. So thanks so much, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Here are some before and after photos. You guys tell me which one you like the best. I think I improved on it.